Out here, just got the yard mowed. About to start working on the car. I got a bunch of parts coming in to do. Hopefully the fan's not going to be too loud for y'all. But we're going to be replacing pretty much the entire fuel system in this car. And the reason for that, when I bought the car, the guy said, you know, hey, I took the tank off, I put a fuel sending unit in it, and I wiped it out. Well, whenever we're looking up here in this fuel filter on the front, I won't be able to show you right now, but if you watched the last video, you would have been able to see it. So your fuel normally comes from the back and comes up through this line right here in the frame and then connects over here to, this is a mechanical fuel pump, which is what a lot of older cars have, which is basically as the engine is turning over, it'll work the pump in here and it'll pull the fuel from back there in the tank. And you can see this filter's got a really orange color to it. You can actually see crap sitting in there right now. And this filter's quite old, you can tell by the rust on it as well. You can see the discoloration around right there where the bad fuel's been coming in. But basically, you get bad gummy fuel, or it has grit in it, or if it has rust in it, which this one definitely does because your fuel is not supposed to be orange. If it's orange, that's a sign of rust. So we could see that this was orange. And then it leads over here to your carburetor. It comes in here, fills up the bowl and everything. And there's floats and stuff like that inside the bowl. And basically what it'll do is it go through a little tiny hole called the jets, and then eventually that comes through the jets, comes out of this, squirts the fuel into the carburetor, and your motor's happy. Well, ours isn't. And as you can tell, this has been on here a while. So what we're gonna do, we have a carburetor rebuild kit. We'll pull this off, pull it apart, clean it out, put new gaskets and everything on it. And then we're gonna run new lines, put a new filter on. We're gonna run it to the mechanical pump here, and we'll try it with just the mechanical, but if it won't pick up to the mechanical, then we'll bypass it and we'll get an electric pump. And the electric pump is, as soon as you turn the key, it puts power to the electric pump and it'll start sucking the fuel from the tank and pushing it up to here. We're gonna see how much of this metal line is still under the car. We'll take a air compressor and go on the end back here at the tank, and we'll flow it with the air compressor, and what that'll do is if there's any junk, dirt, grime, bad fuel in there, it'll blow it out the other end, because it'll put 50 psi on that little line and it'll clear everything out of there. We'll know we're good. We may do new fuel line from all the way from the tank all the way to the front, just because you can't really tell the condition of the inside of the line. So while we're doing all the work, might as well, but we'll just have to see what we end up doing on that. What I'm probably going to go ahead and do is pull this tank off, because with that rust and stuff being in there, you can put a new fuel sending unit in it, you can dump fresh gasoline in it, and by the time it makes it up to the front, it's going to be full of rust and crap. You won't ever get it right. It's $100. All the bolts are right here. There's no point in skipping out on it. So today's video will probably be taking out this gas tank. I'll drain this gas tank and show y'all what I'm talking about with the fuel. I just put 3 gallons of fuel in it 2 days ago, and it was fresh 2 days ago. So we'll see what color it comes out after sitting 2 days in this tank. Another thing that I might add to this, I am not a certified mechanic. I am not the end all be all. Everything I say, if you listen to me, it's at your own risk. No, I don't need you in the comments correcting me. If you have an opinion, that's great. I don't care about it. But this is what I'm talking about. This is what's called the fuel sending unit. This goes into your tank. It's got a little filter here. That's where it picks up the fuel. This little dangly part is your float. When you have gas in it. And when you don't have gas in it, it actuates it, which is what tells you how much fuel you got in there on your fuel gauge. Now, there's a bunch of parts in here in the trunk of it. We're going to clear it out. So, old sending unit, that's junk. It just broke. Plug wires that may or may not be good. Some sort of AC control. A bunch of different gaskets. We've got this piece here. More plug wires. Bunch of spark plugs. I'm assuming all those is maybe for the tank. I didn't feel like putting it back in. It's a big ass spark plug. I have to double check and see if that's what size they are. Just for comparison, this is what's in the trunk. And this is your standard 302 Ford engine. So, I'll double check that. Which, I don't know nothing about these cars. I'll go ahead and say that first and foremost. This is my first one I've ever owned. I'm definitely learning as I go. Here's the flat black. I guess they painted the tank after they pulled it out. Kind of pointless when the whole thing's already rusty. Some sort of brace. It's got some sort of part number on it. Just keep all this around, that way later on I find something missing. Maybe it'll be in this pile. Here's all the trim. That back window, I guess they were going to replace it or replace this seal or something. That may be usable again. We'll just have to see. It'd be good if I didn't have to bug bunch. Here's the wiper that's missing off the passenger. If it's broken or not, we'll go through all this stuff on a later date. At least I'll be able to tell people at the part store, hey, I need this. Here's some old brake line, maybe? Maybe fuel line? I don't really know. Got this. I guess might be like e-brake or something. There's a tail light cover. That'll be handy. The less stuff that I have to buy, the better. Here's I guess the side light, everything. The electric fuel pump. This is where they put that fuel pump on there. Which is what we think is our culprit for us not getting fuel. It's either that or the whole line's clogged. And as you can see, that's the top of the tank. So this thing should just pop right out, basically. Undo this neck here, undo the line on the bottom, pop it out. don't know. I'm assuming it comes up through instead of trying to go down under. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to be or if there's supposed to be like a piece that goes from here to here or something. I would hope that you don't just set your groceries on your gas, but we'll see. I'll get to taking some of this apart and vacuum this out, get it cleaned up, and then we'll see about getting this out. Alright, last clip I said I was going to clean this out, but I thought about it. When I take this tank out, there's going to be a giant hole in the floor, and I could just knock all this into the floor and then sweep it off the driveway later. So what we're going to do here is I think we'll just take this part loose. Get that where it free spins. Now working on a gas tank, it's very important to not be banging around with your metal tools because it can create a spark, and this is a fuel tank. There is fuel in it. It will blow up in your face. See, I'm being an idiot. I'm trying to make sparks. I'm missing the screw I'm going for. Really, you should drain the tank before you try to remove it. And I know that. And I'm telling you so you know. Am I gonna drain it? No. Should I? Yes. Will I blow up and die? Possibly. Okay. I'm gonna have two hands to do that. Can't get it with one, so I'll pick you back up when that's off. As you can see, it's exactly what I expected. They cleaned the tank, but you can see all that rust down in there. Oh, you can see some sediment. You see that? It's kind of hard to get the angle. That really dark orange. So, yeah. This tank needs replaced. You could probably run it, and you could probably deal with all the crap. But it's $100, and I don't feel like dealing with it. So we're changing it. So, we'll try to get under the car. There's not a whole lot of room. I need to try to be able to drain some of this, just so it's not as heavy. And then we can pull it up out of there. So, here's the bottom of our tank. In the rear, as you can see, here's the electric fuel pump they've put on it. And that runs over to the tank. So what we're going to do is we'll take one end of this loose and try to route it around into our jug here. Try to drain that out. That way I can actually lift it up out of there without too much of a fight. So I'll do that really quick off camera, and I'll show y'all what it looks like afterwards, and then we should be able to pull this up out of there. Actually, see right here, we do have hardline seemingly all the way to the back, so that's good news. Hopefully we can just put a compressor on there and blow everything out of it if there is anything in it. And it could be that there's just a problem with that electric pump being stopped up. But for some reason, the pump is running. You can hear it run when you turn the key on, but nothing gets up there. So we'll start back here at the root of the problem, work our way forward, see what all needs to be replaced. Alright. I'm under the car. I got that side of the fuel pump unhooked. I got this side unhooked. I've got this right into this can. We're gonna just wait a little bit, and then we'll take the bolts loose up top, and then we'll yank her on out of there. And once we get all the fuel out of the tank, we'll see what it looks like. Alright, we've got the car pulled out in the driveway where I got more room. Took the fuel neck off. Stuck the garden hose in it. I have here this little hand pump. This is a safer way of doing it so you don't get gasoline in your mouth. So just take the end of this, which is the suction end, stick it to that hose, pump it a few times, it'll pull suction on that hose, pull the fuel through, and then once it gets going good, it should continue itself going. So try to do that real quick. It's hard to do it with one hand, so I'll pick you up once the fuel's coming out. Well, I got a little bit to come out, and then my thing is old, so it disintegrated as soon as the fuel touched it. And like hardly any came out and disintegrated. So we'll put this back on. I gotta go pick up some of the parts that came in for this anyway, so I'll pick up some sort of siphon device. That way I can pull this out, because it's just not worth it to me to get old bad gas in my mouth. So pay $5-10, get some sort of siphoning device, get this out, and we'll be good. So I'll pick it back up once I get back from the parts store. Bought another siphon, but it ain't worth a damn, so I got my pawpaw here with me now. We'll take these bolts out, we'll just lift the tank out, and we'll dump it in that bucket from the filler neck here. It'd be a lot easier than trying to fool with that thing, so I'll do that real quick and show you what the gas looks like. Alright, we lifted the tank up out of there. This is what I was talking about earlier. You'll have all this room. And just knock all this out with a broom, and then I'll blow dry it off. Or not blow dry it, at least blow it off the driveway later on. But over here, where your fuel sending unit goes, that little knob there, you're supposed to hook up this cable here, and that'll tell you your fuel gauge. So I already know the fuel gauge is not correct in there. Now whether or not that actually will work once it's hooked up correct, I still don't know. But we'll dump it in this bucket, and I'll take a video of what it looks like afterwards. It's just a bucket before. It's got a little bit of crap in there, but we're mainly looking at the color. Alright, that's the first bucket. As you can see, it's orange. Moved on to the second bucket here. You see it's still that yellow orange color. All that rust is in there. Yeah. Now you can really see it all coming out. All that sediment on the bottom for a quote-unquote cleaned out tank. This is exactly why if you ever pull a tank to clean it, you might as well just replace it. Don't be cheap.
Hey, it's got a drain in it over there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You can see how dark that is. Just for comparison, here in a second I'll dump some of this good fuel. You can see what your fuel's supposed to look like.
Let's move it over, brother. We don't want it.
Yeah. You're missing a little bit. Get closer to me.
Come closer?
Yeah. Yeah, there's all this. Oh yeah, that's like straight mud water right there. Oh, there's more. That looks like the radiator of the Jeep. That looks like right now. So it adds. Had 6 or 7 gallons in it. So that's what it looks like. Just for reference here. Just a fresh can of gas. It'll be a little bit wasteful, but that way y'all can see what I'm talking about. Alright, you see your color here on this? And then it's going to pour some in it. This is what your fuel should look like. This is fresh fuel. It should be clear. Definitely not dark orange. That's rust being all in the tank. And sediment built up. You can kind of see it. So that right there is exactly why I went ahead and bought a gas tank. Because all that is going to go through all your lines all the way up to the front into your carburetor. And it's going to run like shit and clog everything up, and you're going to have nothing but problems. And all it was, a few bolts run, you unhook one line on the bottom, and it comes right out. Take your filler neck off. 2 clamps, that's all it takes. Papa's pulling the, I forgot the name, fuel sending unit out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a catch.
Yeah.
So is it like a pad?
Supposed to have like a filter on it.
That one's already rusty and everything too. I wonder how long ago it was, because he said they cleaned the tank out. I wonder how long ago that was.
I don't know.
So I don't know how long they had to
I'm
clean.
trying to see what that was red one down in it. Let me pick it up.
It may be the,
Maybe the filter.
yeah, the little filter that goes on the end of that.
Oh well. There's definitely something in it, but I can't see it.
You can't really see nothing on the phone, but this tank's pretty much junk. It should have been junk when they took it off the first time, but some people are lazy, and this is the result of that. But by the time I'm done with it, it'll be all brand new front to back, and I won't have to worry about it. I have a tank coming in on Monday, so we're going to leave that back there how it is. We're going to look at getting this carburetor off, cleaning it up, put some new gaskets on it and everything, because all that dirty gas has been coming up here into it. So if we know it looks that bad, then it's more than likely stopping stuff up in here. It's just going to cause it to run bad. Papa's working on getting that off. I didn't know how to get it off, but as you've seen right there, you just pop it off with a flathead screwdriver. Then you have these bolts you take off, unhook the lines and stuff, pull it right off, and then you start tearing into it with those screws there. Pull it all apart, check it out. It's best to do this to one that's been sitting, or if you know for sure it's had bad gas in it, because you're just going to have problems if you don't. Or you can just buy a brand new one and throw it on there. On each side you got this stud here and this stud here. There's a 1/2 inch bolt and washer on it. Once you pull that off, pull all your lines off. You can pull the whole assembly off. You can see there's rust down in there. Somebody's tried to scrape it off, you can tell. Can you see that? We'll have this thing tore apart here in a minute, putting it back together. Just remember too, there's a gasket right here. And in your rebuild kit, there should be a gasket in there. But if you're not, do your best not to tear that. That way you can reuse it. I recommend not reusing it unless you have to, but sometimes they tear, and sometimes they don't. I'll set this up over here somewhere and get it tore apart. Just loosen these screws up here. eventually this thing will start to come out multiple sections that you can go through and clean it with some standard carb cleaner and everything. This isn't guaranteed to fix anything, but it's worth trying before you spend the $250 to get a new carburetor. Depending on what car you're running and what kind of carb you get, you could pay up to $600 for a carb. So the little $40 repair kit, might as well try it first.
I'm just kind of breaking them all loose, make sure they're all come loose.
You see right here, in between each piece of metal, there's gaskets. That's what keeps you from, when the gas is working through the carburetor, it could spit out the side of it. Then you'll have you a fire. So as you can see, in that crack there, that's why you buy the rebuild kit, because more than likely that thing's going to tear apart or be ripped or be letting fuel out. You definitely do not want a fuel leak anywhere at any time.
I think there's one.
There's one here.
It's loose. I think I got it screwed out, but there's one right there in front. I don't know if I got hit or not. I'll twit mine. This one's loose. I don't know if I'm in there.
It's this going on the choke.
Okay. I didn't see that.
Right here on the choke, there's this little cable that goes into it. Just held on by, looks like a little pin.
I can't get a hold of it.
Get that popped off, and then once we have this pulled open, I'll pick the phone back up.
You got some needle nose pliers? Or?
Yeah.
Let's see.
As you can see down in the bowl, that's some of that fuel that was in there. It's the same orange fuel. All that sediment down in there. Yeah, look. That's down there in the corner. You can see all that sediment. You got all that orange. All this gunk in here. All that grime. All that rust particle. You see down there? Look down in that corner there. Next to the,
Oh yeah.
what is that? Is that the power valve?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, we gotta take this thing, clean it out, try to clean out all the ports, all the jets and everything, because you can tell there's all kinds of sediment down in there. And then after we do all that, then we'll get into our little rebuild kit and find gaskets that match. Go ahead and redo the gaskets while we're in here. Got another one down here on the bottom. So we'll do that. Basically all you do is you go through here, spray everything out, get all the sediment out. And then you locate your jets, you blow your jets out, and make sure that they have good passage, because if they're clogged, the fuel won't come through.
I took this needle valve out. It's cleaned it. It's blowing through it good now. It's working good.
Mm-hmm.
It's all clear. This one's working. I'm going. You can feel it come through it kind of. You can dripping out, but if you get a good place, it will go through it.
Yep.
It's working. This is your pump. It pumps the gas down here. See, it works up and down.
It's squirting
See
out.
it squirting the gas out? Yeah. That's a working. We're not taking that apart. A lot of times, if they don't work, you have to sometimes, it's a rubber diaphragm.
Yeah.
And you have to take that out and put it in, and it's just got a little piece of metal in the middle, and it works up and down, and that's what makes it pump. But it seems to be working okay.
Was they clogged up at all?
No, they've been good.
I wonder why it was. I guess it's just straight up the fuel quality was so bad.
Right.
Because anytime you gave it gas, it would cut out like it wasn't getting enough fuel.
Right. But this looks good here. Oh.
He's gonna be cleaning that up a little bit more. I was having my lunch while he was doing that. So once he's got that done, then he's already blew through both forks, as you heard him say a minute ago. It's coming through there good. So everything should be working in this carburetor. So as long as we got the right gaskets in this kit, we'll throw that back together. It should be good to be thrown back on there. He's over there finishing up cleaning that. I'm gonna throw some engine degreaser on here. See if we can get some of this to clean up a little bit. Some of this off the side. Just make it look a little bit better instead of being all dusty. All covered in oil and different stuff that's leaked over the years. Another thing I want to point out, while I'm right here looking at it. Right here on this belt. See how it's all frayed out on the sides? It's got that mark in it. It's fraying out like that. That belt's getting ready to go. It's getting chewed up. So I always replace my belts when I get a new vehicle or a new used vehicle. Always replace the belts. I always do the brakes. And a lot of times I like to do the fuel tanks too. This one definitely needed the tank. But I do that because I have no idea how old that belt is. I have no idea how old the brakes are. You have to have your belt and you have to have brakes. So it's just worth it. It's things like these hoses. Replace the hoses. They don't cost that much. And you won't have to deal with them breaking off and snapping or leaking, all that. It's just more worth the time to go ahead and replace it. Looks like I'm out of degreaser. I think I bought another can. I'll go look for it. Alright. Found my other can. Continue spraying this on here. Get everything to good once over. You want to avoid spraying it into the motor. You can spray it all over the motor. It'll be fine. I'm just gonna head getting it all over everything, all over the firewall. In case anything's sprayed out over the years. Completely cover everything because we're not gonna be running this motor until at least sometime mid next week. but it ain't gonna hurt nothing having this all over it. The directions say spray it all on there, wait 30 minutes, and then come back and hose it off. When you do that, be sure you cover your hole where your carburetor goes, and then try to keep your distributor as dry as possible. So we'll come back about 30 minutes, clean that off. We'll find all the gaskets in the kit. Kit also had a few extra things. I've never tore apart a carburetor, and Papa was not familiar with that setup, so I mean the carb was working. It was just acting like it was, you know, not getting enough fuel, and when he pressed that little thing in, it was squirting the fuel out, or squirting out the cleaner. So we have all the reason to believe it's just fine. So instead of risking messing anything up, we're just gonna keep this as a spare part and call that rebuilt for now. See if it gives us any more trouble, then we'll start to disinfect this. I'll just put it on the shelf over there, that way we have it for later. Been a little bit, so I'm gonna hose this off. Just do a little plastic bag over that and try not to spray directly towards it. I don't know how much I was actually catching on camera there, because I was kind of just watching what I was doing, not watching what the camera was saying. But got stuff like this bracket cleaned up, knock some of the gunk off the alternator, clean that a little bit, cleans up the engine bay a little bit. It's not restoration in a can, but it does help get some of the grime that's been stuck on there, so it breaks it up. Where it's easier for you to scrape it off. It's only a couple bucks for a can of it, so it's worth doing that if you want to get it looking somewhat better than what it was. Alright, so part of the problem I have on this car, I know I'm kind of skipping around, but while Papa's working on the carb, I'm also doing stuff. So this switch here, when you pull it the first time, brake lights come on. Pull it the second time, headlights are supposed to come on, like so. Tail lights, headlights, they don't. So my boss had told me that these switches can go bad. I have no idea how to pull it out, but I've got a new one, so we're gonna see if I can figure out how to replace it. I haven't even looked at it yet to see what all it is. Okay. So this is what it looks like, or at least the replacement. I have no clue how to tear into it. So, let's see if I can stick the phone in there. See anything? I can't see nothing, so I'm gonna fool around with this for a minute. If I figure it out, I'll show you what I've done. I have no idea how to wire this. It just has a bunch of letters on it. We'll figure it out. I'll pick you back up after I make any discoveries on it. I've pulled the instrument cluster out, which has normally got screws in it, but this one didn't. Making this video for myself, but I'll put it in. Oil pressure gauge. It's light blue and black and yellow. Went to there. I'm assuming this is just a light or something. So many wires. Okay. I don't know what this is. That attaches to that. So yellow and black goes to here. Yellow and black goes to there. And then the one that's doubled up black goes to the other side of it. And we still got this wire and this wire. So brown and black goes to that prong. I gotta figure out how to get this blue and black wire out. Not turn it, Dutch port. Twist it. Oh, I just pop it. Okay, so that's the bowl. So that is unplugged from somewhere in here. Maybe. Okay, so there's a green one that's also unplugged. You got this big thing up here. What would that go to? That's my wiper. Okay. I don't know if that just pops off there. If it pulls out, what? I don't want to break it. Okay, there's a screw on the back side of it. I just want the electrical part to come out. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Let me flip it around and start taking some of the other side out. Okay, so the red and black wire is my temperature. And then black and white is also temperature. Okay. This one would be more lights. Oh. Okay. Well, that just kind of fell out of there. So maybe I don't need to take the more out. Maybe I can let it dangle like that. What I'm needing to get to is right here, underneath this harness. That switch right back in here. Oh, you can see it. Let's see, let me try to find out where my camera's at. Okay, see right there, that white gear? That's the switch. So it could either be just the switch is bad, or as you can tell, somebody's been in there. All the different taped up stuff. So let me see if I can maybe undo that bolt, get this to move a little bit out of the face so I can see better. This little bolt here is an 8mm. Or maybe it's a different size, but the 8mm fits on it. I say it fits on it. It rounds off. So. So 5/16. Seems like it fits on there. Try it. See if it also adjusts it off. Okay. So the right size is a 5/16. So I couldn't figure out how to get this knob out, so I just YouTubed it. And on the inside, switch goes in there like this. There's this button on the back that you can reach in and touch. So while holding that button, you take your knob and you twist it all the way to the right while holding that button. And then just kind of give it a little pressure pulling out. Once it gets all the way to the right and you're holding that button, it should just slide right out. It'll be nice and easy. So that button right in here on the back side of that switch. As you can see by this one. This button. Once you have your knob out, you find you a decent sized screwdriver. Start turning this till you get it to come out. I may have to put my hand on the back side to get it to actually come loose, but yeah, you just take a decent sized flathead screwdriver, stick it into there. Be easy when you go to turn it so you don't strip that out. But if your screwdriver's big enough, it should be able to turn it. And you just turn it until it comes loose. I'll show you on this one. You can see down in there, there's threads. So that's what you're threading that out of. Once you get that piece threaded out, you can thread it in here. Put the thing in there, put the pin, blah, blah, blah. But I'm probably going to get all these connections set up first and then hold it in place and then worry about doing all that. Let's see, here's your threads for that piece there. Set that over to the side for now. And there's your hole. And this should be free to move. And move it out. Normally you'd probably have to bring it like up here, but this little piece is missing here for me. Just bring it out, look at it, check on everything. See, there's that wire hanging loose there. I wonder what that wire is supposed to go to. Let's see, we can bring it up this way. Let me put the camera down and I'll get this off and then I'll tell you how I did it. Okay, so I got this thing out of here off camera. So here's your little connector. You can see it's kind of corrosion in there. That may be part of the problem. Be careful when you're doing that because when you're pulling it, this thing right here is pretty damn sharp, as you can see. I just took a cotton pad and some electrical tape and wrapped it around it, but you see there's all this blue looking stuff on there. It's typically corrosion.
Corrosion. Corrosion.
Yeah. It could be grease.
It
depends on what they used, but I would think.
It looks like just corrosion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
So we'll plug that thing back into here. Put it in position. Line up our holes. Take that thing and start to twist it in there. press the button, shove the pin back in. That's all you got to do to replace it. Now, whether or not that's going to fix my issue, I have no idea yet, because I can see right here there's wire. It's not connected to something, so, but at least I know this is new, so if I have to run new wire from here to the headlights, then I know it's going to work. Okay, I've got this plugged in, got it pulled out like it's supposed to be. I've got my corner lights, so I know there's power coming up here. Still no headlights. The headlights themselves couldn't be bad, or it could just be my power coming to the headlights. Haven't got to check it yet. But now I know for sure it's not the switch, and the switch was on a couple bucks. Tail light ain't working there, but it is working here. So now I just gotta trace down all my wiring, make sure I got power. Right here, I've got these two wires coming here. I thought maybe it needs to connect to here. But let's see, they got this running over to here. It runs over here. And it runs up. So let's see, we got green, orange, and black back here. Orange and black is right here. Got this wire. Got these wires here. And those run into a different harness. I've got this that's supposed to plug in. I don't really know. That'll be something for a different day to trace down, but at least I know the switch is good. I don't have to worry about it for a while. Oh, while I was in there messing with that, Papa got the carburetor, threw it back together. Went ahead and put it on. So tomorrow I'm supposed to get the tank. So once we get the tank, we'll do the tank and new lines all the way up to here. We'll check the mechanical pump, check that electric pump, see if we can get this thing going again and running better than what it was. And once we do that, we can start doing belts. We can figure out the power steering, figure out the wiring. Do some cleaning, sanding on the inside and everything. Got the trunk cleaned out, all the junk. Probably gonna sand it, paint it, all that good stuff. Right here is a stupid design. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this. There's just a hole there. And I vacuumed up a bunch of dirt and decomposed the leaves or something, and that's what creates those rust holes. Shouldn't be able to see daylight through there. I don't know why they designed it that way. Both sides is like that. It's not meant to be. That was stupid. I don't know who designed that. Here's what the interior looks like. A bunch of leaves and crap in there. Vacuum that out. I would record it, but the vacuum's loud as all get out. So, no point. I might be sanding on it some more or something though. Kinda at a standstill until I get more parts. Alright, we got this seat to actually fold down. We gotta hit this corner. Got most of the floor vacuumed out, vacuumed down the seats. We'll switch to the other side. I might record it and then just turn down the volume because this thing is definitely dying. Even though it's only been used like a total of 10 times, but you know, whatever. I'm gonna see if I can get something to clean these seats out. I feel like these seats will look really good if they're just cleaned off. They're in excellent shape. So we'll go to that side. See if we can get that side to fold down or not. That just fucked up on me. Well, since the vacuum screwed up on me, I guess I'll get to sanding and primering. May do this when my pawpaws already went over. I'll go back over with the orbital sander and hit it with the 220 grit. Smooth it up, spray some primer on it. See how it turns out. And then that may be it. Man, I wish the whole car looked like this, to be honest, because that'd be a great like patina look. But since it doesn't look like that, then we're just gonna go with the primer. Because this side only the door looks like that, but if the whole thing looked like that, man, that'd be a good patina. But you gotta get rid of all this. I don't know if I should do this side or that side first. I guess I could do this side today and then maybe do that side tomorrow or something. But I'll be doing that for a little bit here. Okay, I went over this whole panel with the 220 pad. I'm just gonna kind of cut it off here, and then cut it off here, and cut it off at this door. Okay, so went over the whole panel with 220, or no, yeah, 220. Now I'm gonna go back over it with 320 because 320 is finer, and well, I think I'm gonna have this one, but yeah. The higher up you go, the smoother it is, and it won't be cutting into the metal. So, like as you can see right there, there's a couple spots. Run back over that with 320. Smooths all that crap out. Gives you a good, nice, clean, smooth, flat surface. And so, I'll skip ahead to where that part's done, and then we'll clean this and kind of prep it to throw some primer on. I didn't realize it, but I really hope I got enough primer to do this panel because I've already got it sanded. It's something you should check for beforehand. Don't be an idiot like me. We're sure to get many bugs in here. Overspray on my window. All that. And there's sure to be spots that aren't perfect. But we can work out all the kinks later on. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Alright, I finished my phone call. While I was on the phone, I was still painting and primering. So, got that primered. See right here where there's a couple holes, a couple spots of pitting and stuff. A couple more here. Some dirt fell out on it. All that crap, but. And right here, there was something still on it because it didn't clean the surface good enough. So I'll let that dry, sand it out, paint it again. Same thing here, but overall, step back, looks pretty good. So down here we got some dimples, bumps, and crap. Somebody's tried to Bondo this before, is what that is. Nothing I can do about it. So it's gonna stay like that. But John's primer, this is primered. It's one color now. Maybe tomorrow we'll do this little piece, and then that side over there, and then maybe up around, and then can worry about doing the roof. Yeah, we'll just see what tomorrow holds. But for now, this is going to be the end of the video of all the work I've done today. I didn't get to finish the interior. I'm worried about putting anything on this vinyl. I want to clean it, but I don't want to put anything that'll be harmful on it. So I'm going to do some research into that and see what people suggest. But for now, I'll leave that, let all the bugs get caught in it. And we'll do some more tomorrow. I'll go inside and start editing and uploading this video. If y'all enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, all that. I'm no genius. I'm no mechanic. I just like working on old shit and trying to make it look better. So anything I say is not advice. So keep that in mind. I'll see you on the next one. Maybe we'll get this thing running and get it out of the garage.